two of New York's top elected leaders are taking Ted Cruz to task for his comments during the debate, as he mentioned in Juliana's piece. In an op-ed piece for the New York Daily News, Governor Andrew Cuomo and New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio say Cruz's rhetoric is unfit for anyone seeking the presidency. Cuomo and de Blasio, who are both Democrats, say Cruz begs for money from New York residents and that if he had any class, Cruz would offer New Yorkers a real apology instead of sarcasm.
Joining us now to discuss the latest on both sides of the campaign trail is Philip Bump, political reporter for The Washington Post. Good morning.
Good morning.
A lot of pundits are saying this was the darkest of the debates.
Yeah.
They went after character, they went after integrity. What was your assessment of it?
I think it's fair to say that it was an unusually aggressive debate. You know, it started off fairly slowly, and then the Cruz-Trump feud, which had been brewing for months, and neither of them had been willing to throw a punch at the other, finally erupted. But I don't know that what the establishment candidates needed to do was shift the momentum away from Cruz and away from Trump, and I don't know that it did anything to that end.
Philip, how much longer can it go on that there essentially isn't an establishment candidate? There are four of them vying for that space. If somebody doesn't emerge, do they all just fade away? What happens?
Well, if you'd asked me that question 4 months ago, I would say it couldn't go on much longer. If you'd asked me 3 months ago, I'd say it couldn't go on much longer. I mean, it's just Cruz and Trump are so far ahead of the field at this point, and they're ahead of the field both in state polls and national polls, and the state polls make a lot of difference. I think we're seeing a lot of the establishment's candidates fighting each other because they want to be the one that's left at the end, but it's starting to look like there may not be any space for them at the table anyway.
It also felt like earlier on we saw a lot of them going after Trump, and it feels like that momentum has shifted. Do you think that was an intentional, like, let's stop just attacking him?
I don't know if it was intentional. I think they just saw it wasn't working. They kept trying to attack Trump and trying to attack Trump and trying to take him down, and nothing happened. So I think that they're sort of more used to, like, Jeb Bush attacking Marco Rubio. He knows what that feels like. He knows how to go after Marco Rubio. He's tried throwing punches at Trump. It hasn't worked at all.
The fourth Democratic debate, meanwhile, is tomorrow night. The races in New Hampshire and Iowa have really tightened up. If you're Hillary Clinton, are you having deja vu attacks here about what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I'm sure she's not enthusiastic about where this race is. I mean, I think that it's a different scenario than 2008. Sanders is a very different candidate than Barack Obama was. But I think that it's definitely the case. The candidates want the races to be close once it gets to Election Day, because that'll turn people out and get people excited and get people to make donations. But I'm sure she's a little wary of where she is right now.
Is it just my imagination, or does it seem like the Democratic debates are on, like, the worst nights? Like, they just are not in the prime time it's felt like the Republican debates have been in.
No, it is not your imagination. You know, and there is a theory out there which I think has some validity. If you're a voter and you don't get new information, you don't change your mind. And so the idea is that if you put the debates at times when no one's watching, no one watches. They don't get new information, they don't change their minds, and that helps the status quo, which has been Hillary Clinton, who's obviously deeply embedded in the establishment.
But the stakes in these two primaries, Iowa and New Hampshire, are big for Sanders, aren't they? I mean, really, this is where he has to get the wind in his sails to go the rest of the way.
That's exactly right. But it's also important to note that Iowa and New Hampshire are very white states.
Yes.
And Bernie Sanders does not do well with non-white voters. And so he has a natural advantage here. He's basically tied with Hillary Clinton in these states where he should do better than anywhere else. And it doesn't bode well for him over the long term.
Philip Bump, always nice to see you.
Thank you much.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow morning on Face the Nation here on CBS, John Dickerson's guests will include Senator Bernie Sanders and Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton, and two Republican candidates as well, Florida Senator Marco Rubio and Ohio Governor John Kasich.